The Bitter Birds are counting them down. The top 10 Eagles right now. And, this is going to be a fun show. I'm looking forward to this. We have no idea who anybody has in their top 10 as of yet. So, this is going to be a lot of fun. Mike Owens, Jeremy Burton are both here. I'm Adrian Fedque. Let's kind of dig right in. Number one on the list, because I have no idea how long this show is going to go. So we'll start with Mike. Let's go. Number one.
Yeah, number one here, best player on the team. This is one of the guys that reported to minicamp today after an absence because he wants to get a contract extension here, and that's a big man himself in Fletcher Cox. I think that this guy is really a no-brainer as the best player on this team, and that's why there's reports out there that he's going to get a contract extension with possibly $60 million guaranteed.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. I'd put Fletcher at number one. He is the best player on our team. I mean, I don't think there's much arguing that. And he's been the top of the conversation for a while this offseason. And he's going to thrive in this system. We know that. He thrived this whole career. He's going to eat. He's going to munch on those offensive linemen. He's going to penetrate deep. And he's gonna get right in there, and I mean let's just pay him. It was actually really interesting today. Doug feeling so confident in his press conference, saying that he fully expects him to get a deal done before training camp. I'm like, oh, okay, well, get it done.
Yeah, number one on my list, Ron Brooks. Obviously, I mean, come on now, best player on the team. No, I went Fletcher Cox as well. I mean, this is a no-brainer here. I am really, really curious, though. Are they going to get this contract done before training camp? Because here's the thing. The Eagles, 2017 salary cap, according to overthecap.com, $2.4 billion to spend. And, well, I don't know if they can get this deal done. Here's the thing. Howie Roseman likes to backload the deals. If you've listened to Todd France offseason, Fletcher Cox wants his money kind of up front. So if he gets that $60 million guaranteed, he's going to want it the first couple years of the contract, and especially most of it those first 2 years. So I'm having trouble, I don't know, how can they get this done? Like, you got Doug Peterson, he's confident that they're going to get this deal done. Howard Eskin came out with a report today that this deal's going to get done pretty quickly, but I don't know. Not that I have my doubts or anything, but if you only have $2.4 million of cap space for 2017, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, the only way that this gets done soon is if for somehow the guaranteed money is not all in the first year or two. Maybe somehow that guaranteed money was really loaded in the third and fourth year, fifth year, something like that. I think that's the only way where the deal would, kind of be able to get done sooner rather than later. So instead of the deal being front loaded or back loaded, I think it would have to be kind of loaded in the middle. They would both have to settle in the middle for them to get this deal done sooner rather than later.
Hey, if anybody can figure it out, it's the Cat Master himself, Howie Roseman. But I don't know, something was fishy today. Like, I kind of have a feeling like they're close. Like, he showed up, and there's all this talk about, oh, he's just going to take mental reps. Doug Peterson said, it's to prevent injury. Almost like there's some kind of underlying thing we're not being told. I feel like, and maybe it is that they're close, and the agent said, go, we're going to get it done soon, start getting warmed up for training camp now with these mini camps, and avoid the $70,000 fine as well. I mean, we all hope that it gets done soon. I don't know, something was telling me today that maybe they are closer than we think, and we can pull some sort of some deal to make it work, even though it does appear that we're kind of strapped for cash as far as the 2017 salary cap.
Yeah, the only thing I can really think of is, if they get this deal done. I mean, I know, like we kind of just talked about how he likes to backload deals. But if there's problems with that, Todd France wants to kind of front load it. Well, maybe you can get most of the money to Cox's second year of the contract of the extension, because you really can't do much in the first year. I don't really know how the salary cap works per se, because obviously, once Sam Bradford is after he completes the season, he's going to be gone. That's going to free up $17 million if he's traded, $13 million if he's cut. But I just don't know how that really works. Like, can you sign Cox now and be under the salary cap? Like, I don't know how that works. But in terms of $2.4 million, I mean, $2.4 million is nothing for a first year in a contract. So there's that. All right, so we got our Fletcher Cox talk kind of out of the way. Number 2 on our list, Mike. Start with you.
Yeah, my number 2 guy is Malcolm Jenkins. I think last year he was probably besides Fletcher Cox, he was definitely the second best player on the team. He really led the defense, and I think why I have him number 2 going into this season. I think that it really has to deal with the scheme with Schwartz coming in here. I think Schwartz is going to blitz a lot. He needs a guy that can play up at the line of scrimmage and blitz, and Malcolm Jenkins is that type of guy. He can make the tackles at the line of scrimmage, and that's what Schwartz is looking for. So, and Jenkins can obviously play back too, can really play all over the field. So that's why I have Jenkins at number 2. If it wasn't for Cox, he would be the number 1 guy, because he's besides his on the field play, he's such a leader for this team.
Well, I feel this is going to happen a lot in the show. He stole mine, and I had Jenkins at number 2 as well. Many of the same reasons. I mean, he's a leader of that secondary. With Eric Rowe, Ronnie McLeod coming in, these young guys around him. I mean, he's really becoming the closest thing, and nobody will ever be the great Weapon X, but he's the closest thing we've had at safety since to the likes of Brian Dawkins, and I mean, he obviously I have him coming in at number 2 for all those reasons that Mike said as well.
My number 2 is not Malcolm Jenkins. My number 2, I'm going bold. Really, really bold at number 2. Jordan Hicks, baby. Jordan Hicks. Yes! Let's do it, because obviously last year I was a huge fan of his when he got drafted. Stud, steal of the draft. I mean, shit. But here's why I got Jordan Hicks number 2. It is not a coincidence that our defense fell apart last year once he got hurt. We were one of the best run defenses in the NFL prior to his injury, and then once he got hurt, god damn it, everything fell down. I mean, shit, the whole roof caved in. Couldn't stop a nosebleed. It was terrible. And this guy is just so unbelievably multifaceted. Obviously, the injuries are a huge concern, but when he's out there, this guy can run. He can play run defense. He's very, very instinctive. He can play man coverage. He can play zone coverage. This guy can do it all. His read and react skills are unbelievable. His closing speed is pretty unbelievable. I think this guy's a star in the making. I got a gut feeling on him. I love Malcolm Jenkins, but I went Jordan Hicks number 2, and he's probably not number 2 on anyone else's list. So there's that. All right, number 3.
Well, yeah, number 3 for me. This also has to do with how I think this player is going to do this year. So I think that guy is Zach Ertz. I really think that he's going to be putting up number 1 receiver, type of stats. The Eagles are going to rely on this guy tremendously. I don't think that Nelson Aguilar is really going to have that breakout season. I think he's just going to put up average numbers, and you know what you're going to get from Jordan Matthews. And, with the way that Doug Peterson likes to use his tight ends, I think that, this is a season where Ertz really breaks out. It was supposed to be last season, but last season he got that injury in the beginning of the year, in the preseason, which really hurt him a lot. He had to have that, the sports hernia surgery. So I think this is a year where we kind of see Ertz, live up to, the potential that he had when we drafted him in the second round.
My number 3 is going to be a couple of this position coming up on my list, but I'm going with Lane Johnson. He's been a staple ever since we drafted him back in 2013. He's versatile. He can play left tackle and right tackle. If Peters goes down, eventually you're going to groom him to be our left tackle for the future. But I mean, he's proved to be the stud of that draft, even though he didn't get picked first overall. I think it was Luke Jokel, and he hasn't lived up to expectations. What can you say? He holds down the fort on that side of the offensive line, and I always say this, but games are won and lost in the trenches, and he's been an Iron Man. Hasn't missed a game except that the suspension for those few games 2 years ago.
Yeah, number 3 for me, Malcolm Jenkins. This is you guys already talked about him at number 2. I got him at number 3. I am really, really curious to see how he and Rodney McLeod, hold that safety combo, hold down the fort there in the secondary. How good is this combo really going to be? Jim Schwartz thinks they could be one of the best safety duos in the NFL. We'll see. I don't necessarily think they're going to be the best, but I do think they have a lot of potential. And Malcolm Jenkins, this guy does it all. Mike talked about it earlier. He's gotten really, really good playing at the line of scrimmage, and this was something that he wasn't good at earlier on in his career. He wasn't exactly the best tackler, but he came out of college at Ohio State. He was a cornerback, so transitioned to safety. He's gotten better as a tackler, and he's like the complete package now. He's definitely the leader of our defense, the vocal type of leader. So, Malcolm Jenkins, number 3. Number 4, who you guys got?
Yeah, number 4. This is where I go with Hicks. Really expecting big things from Hicks this year. Hopefully he doesn't get hurt again, because I think if this guy can stay healthy for a full 16 games, it's going to be huge for this defense. And, it's crazy right now, and it's actually more crazy that I'm hearing Adrian have Hicks as his number 2 guy when about a year ago we were sitting here and Adrian was called the guy, possibly a bust. He wasn't happy with the draft pick at all, but he's out on the bandwagon now. How could you not? The guy, he turned into be a cowboy killer in his rookie season, knocked out, Romo for a while, breaking his clavicle in the game at the Link early in the season. And then later in the season in Dallas, in the game that he actually, got injured for the rest of the year, he had an interception, returned it for a touchdown. So I think the Eagles and the Bitterbirds here ourselves are expecting big things from Jordan Hicks. And really, he's going to be that, the vocal leader besides Malcolm Jenkins on defense.
All right, number 4, another offensive lineman. I'm going Jason Peters here. The wily old vet. He's still trucking along. He battled a lot of injuries last year, but there's no goes without saying, when he's healthy, he's one of the better offensive linemen in the league. He's shown it for years. Multiple time Pro Bowler. It's hard not to have him on the top 5 of best players on our team. As long as he's healthy, he's a leader on that offensive line as well. I really like the way our offensive line's shaping up. We got a good mix of guys in there. It's all about Peters staying healthy, really. And Doug Peterson even said he's taking it cautiously with him. He's probably not going to get a ton of reps in the offseason because, frankly, he doesn't need it. I want him out there every Sunday. Maybe Doug Peterson's offense will not, maybe definitely slowing down the offense being a lot slower than Chip Kelly's, marathon, race over there that he had. It'll help the longevity of Jason Peters and hopefully keep him healthy. He's not, running a snap every 20 seconds. So huddling up and all that, I think, will help Peters stay healthy in the long run, and that'll help the Eagles.
Number 4 for me, Rodney McLeod. Signed him during the offseason free agent acquisition. I do think we did pay him a little bit too much money, but definitely a good football player. He's always been underrated in the NFL landscape. Physical, in-the-box type of safety, a perfect fit for Jim Schwartz's scheme. I think he's going to, do fairly well in Philadelphia. I like him a lot. Number 4, Rodney McLeod. So, yeah, a little, this is good. We got some differentiation across the board.
I like that one. There's some positions along this team. Safety is one of them where you can, if we weren't talking about specific players in the top 10, you can kind of bunch them together into one because I think that, they kind of go well together as a tandem. And I think when you're looking at the offensive line, I think you would mention, guys like Lane Johnson and Jason Peters together.
Yeah. Number 5, let's go.
All right, number 5. This is where I go with Jason Peters. Jeremy was talking about this earlier, but if he can stay healthy for a full 16 games, it's going to be huge for that offensive line. The guy needs to stay healthy, and I really think that with Doug Peterson being the head coach, having a slower tempo is going to help Jason Peters a lot. And I also think the way that Doug Peterson was talking today, it seems like he's really going to be careful with, Peters and some of the veteran guys on the team this season. Hopefully we don't see Peters practicing much during the week this year. I don't mind resting that guy at all. As long as he's healthy on Sunday, that's going to be huge because, this guy is just, he's an all-pro tackle, and Eagles need him out there every Sunday. So I think if he can, be healthy for all 16 games, it's going to be key for a team that is going to run the ball a lot under Doug Peterson.
All right, number 5, the last offensive lineman on my list, and my first free agent acquisition. I'm going with Brandon Brooks here. He's exactly what you want in a guard. He's huge. He's a monster. He's gonna be a great run protection, and he loves Philadelphia. He loves his Wawa Hoagies already. He loves the city. This could be a potential Pro Bowl player for years to come. Solidified a guard spot, which was such a big hole for us last year. We had journeyman guards in there. Barbary, Tobin, all those guys. It just didn't work, Andrew Gardner. And this was such a key offseason acquisition, and he was on the top of Howie Roseman's list to get as an offensive lineman in the free agency. And, we snagged him. We paid him. We paid him well. And I just think this guy's going to be a staple on our offensive line. He's been healthy his whole career. No major injuries. He's a great guard to have.
All right. He also likes parking in the middle of the street. So he likes that aspect of Philadelphia as well. Number 5 on my list, I've got Eric Rowe, second-year cornerback from Utah. The key with him is going to be how they utilize him because he's a physical kind of press corner. So they're going to have to utilize his strengths because if they have him in off coverage, I don't know how well he's going to play. I don't really know if he has the makeup speed to really play that kind of style. But in terms of the physical press at the line of scrimmage, I think he could fare really, really well. I loved him last year. Came on really late. I made some comments on Twitter that he was better than Myron Maxwell. I took a lot of heat for that, but there's no doubt that he's better than Myron Maxwell at this point. So Eric Rowe, physical, he can tackle too. He's my number 5. So number 6 now.
Well, number 6, you just led right into my number 6. I'm going to say a lot of the same things you did. I went with Rowe. He's really the key to the whole cornerback play on our team this year. The Eagles need this guy to step up. I saw a really big jump from Rowe in the preseason last year to the regular season. In the preseason last year, it didn't look like this guy belonged in the league. But Mike Mayock, he believed in the guy, and he was adamant during those preseason games that Rowe was going to be a good player. And Rowe really worked on his game. And, when he was called upon in the regular season, he did a really good job. Early in the year, against the Jets. He ended up making a key interception that led to an Eagles victory. And then you look, later on in the season when he was forced into the Lions game and was, somehow put on an island against Calvin Johnson thanks to Billy Davis. Some people may look at that game if you're a casual fan and say, well, Eric Rowe got torched in that game. But, when you go back and you really look at it, Eric Rowe, he did a really good job with his, coverage on Calvin Johnson. I mean, some of those throws by Stafford were just placed perfectly, and there was nothing Rowe could do about it. So, to see that Rowe can go up against a receiver like Calvin Johnson and stick with them, that's key to see that. So I think that Rowe made a lot of progress as the season went along last year, and it's also key that he started the final 5 or 6 games last season. So that's why I got Rowe where I have him.
All right, number 6, this is where I throw in Jordan Hicks. You guys had him on your list already. He probably could be higher too, but I mean, obviously, he happened last year with when he went down, like Adrian said earlier. I mean, really showed how awful our defense was. We had those 3 games where we gave up like 40 points. I mean, it was horrible. That shows how much of an impact he makes on the team. I mean, we gave him the microphone in his helmet right away as soon as I took over for D'Amico Ryans. I mean, that goes to show you the confidence that our defensive coordinator have in him, and that was Billy Davis. And obviously Schwartz will utilize him well and to his strengths. He's versatile. I mean, just pray to God he stays healthy, and because if he goes down, I mean, our depth is slim pickings at the linebacker position. We cannot afford to lose him. He's a very valuable part of our defense. He's the leader of those linebackers, and for such a young kid, I mean, it's great. Chip Kelly got something right.
You gave Chip Kelly a compliment. Look at that. We're making progress with Jeremy.
Wow.
Progress. Number 6. Come on, guys. Sing it with me. Come on, baby. Make it hurt so good. Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah, he's the one guy I'm really curious about this year. Peterson really likes to utilize tight ends. He likes to utilize the running backs. I mean, obviously, if we remember Andy Reid, they like running backs out in the patterns. You got to utilize the tight ends a lot. And, just from doing some of my columns this offseason, a lot of 3 tight end sets from Peterson in Kansas City last year. So I'm really curious to see, when they throw out Burton and Ertz and Selleck out there all at the same time. I also believe that Ertz is going to get more snaps this year than he did under Chip Kelly. So he's a big vocal point. He's probably the most important skill player we have this coming season. So Zach Ertz, number 6 for me. Now it's time for number 7 from you guys.
Yeah, number 7. This is where I bring in Brandon Brooks. I think that this was just a really big signing in the offseason because the Eagles really needed to shore up that guard position. And, with Brandon Brooks, I mean, they get a massive guy. I mean, 6'5", about 346. It's exactly what the Eagles needed to get for a Doug Peterson, type of offense. So, Jeremy talked about him earlier, so that's where I got Brooks. I think it's a key addition to the offensive line, which was definitely improved and much needed in the offseason.
Yeah, 7's where I throw Ertz in there. I think he definitely has the potential to have a 1,000-yard season and double-digit touchdowns. I think that's his ceiling. I definitely think he can hit it the way Doug utilizes his tight ends. You can see what he did with Travis Kelce. I mean, he's an all-star tight end as well. This is going to be Ertz's breakout year. I'm feeling it. Finally, he's going to be used heavily. He's got everything you want in a tight end: size, speed, great route runner. I mean, great hands. You show those flashes where the one game he had like 15 grabs and he can go all over the field. He's everything you want in a tight end, and quarterbacks love him. I know he's close with Sam. He's talking about high praise for Carson Wentz as well. And we know Ertz is going to be here for many years to come, and I hope he goes to multiple Pro Bowls. He's a very, very huge part of our offense. I think this is finally it. Come on, breakout year for Mr. Ertz.
Ertz is also really good at baseball. He won the second annual Eagles batting practice little championship they had at Citizens Bank Park last week. Number 7 on my list, I got Benny Logan. I think he's going to eat in this system of Jim Schwartz. He was an undersized nose tackle under Billy Davis. It wasn't really his natural position, and he was still unbelievable. I mean, he was like the only sideline-to-sideline nose tackle I've ever seen in my life, and this guy's unbelievable. He gets into the backfield, he penetrates, he's really good against the run. So I don't know if this is necessarily number 7 because of talent. This is more because of scheme fit, and I'm expecting big things from Benny Logan this year. Unfortunately, he's a free agent at the end of this year, and I just don't see how we're going to re-sign him. So this is going to be the last year of Benny Logan in Philadelphia, and he's going to hit the market. He's going to get paid a lot of money because he's going to eat. So there you go. Number 8.
Yeah. So number 8. This is where I go with Rodney McLeod. I kind of talked about it a bit earlier, but I think that him and Malcolm Jenkins back there, I think it's a really good pairing because you can have Malcolm Jenkins up at the line, and Rodney McLeod does a really good job of playing back and being that safety valve. So I really like the McLeod addition in the off season. So that's why I got him here, and when we got Malcolm Jenkins, it wasn't this sexy name that everyone wanted. Everyone wanted the guys like Jarius Byrd and T.J. Ward, but we went with Jenkins, and it worked out well for us. Kind of a similar situation with McLeod. Not the sexiest name out there, but I think that when you pair him with Malcolm Jenkins and you also pair him in the Jim Schwartz defense, I think that it's a great fit.
All right, my number 8. He's not necessarily going to put up eye-popping offensive numbers and lead the team in offensive number categories, but Darren Sproles is going to play a huge role on our in Doug Peterson's offense, and just with his sheer speed and matchup problems he can cause, and obviously his impact on special teams, he's got to be in your top 10. I mean, he's just a special talent. I don't know, at 32, 33 years old he is, and he's still blazing past 25-year-olds that are just as fast coming out of college. Like it's crazy. He's a Swiss Army knife to a T, and he will, he's a great utility player. Manage his reps as well. We only need him to be that third down back, line him up in the slot as a receiver. I mean, he's just so versatile on offense that that makes him top 10 on my list for sure.
All right, I like that one for number 8. Doug did say today that Sproles is going to have an extensive role in this offense this year, and I referenced this when I talked about Zach Ertz, how Peterson likes to utilize his running backs as wide receivers. He'll motion them out from the backfield, line them up as a wide receiver, and that's what we're going to see from Sproles. So I expect maybe some screens from the outside, maybe some crossing routes. It should be interesting. Some pivot routes, a lot of that sort of stuff. Get him in space, and that's the key. Number 8 for me, this is where I got Jason Peters. Peters is the most just unpredictable guy on my list. I have no idea what to expect from him this year. He is 34 years old. Jeremy made this point when he talked about him, about him seeing less snaps. He's going to see about 10 less snaps a game playing in this sort of tempo. So I think that will help him. But this is a guy that you can put at in the top 3, but he's also a guy that might not even be in the top 10. So I have no idea what to expect from him this year. So that's my number 8. Number 9.
All right, number 9. This is where I go with Vinny Curry. Kind of a little bit of surprise for a guy that hasn't played much with the Eagles, but I think why I have him at number 9 here is I think that a lot of this has to do with obviously the Eagles switching back to that 4-3 defense. And, this is kind of the time where Vinny Curry gets a shine. I mean, he got a big contract in the offseason, a 5-year deal here. It's going to be worth up to $47.5 million with $23 million guaranteed. So he's getting a lot of money. He's going to see a ton of playing time this season. And I know that Schwartz, the way that he likes to attack the quarterback, and that's what Vinny Curry does. He attacks the quarterback. So I think you're going to see a lot of sacks out of Vinny Curry. Curry has always been the guy that has shined during the preseason. Then the regular season comes around and kind of disappears. But, this is his time. So I got him at number 9, and I think that he's really going to be, a key part along that defensive line.
Yeah, I like that pick. I was really debating putting him in my top 10. At number 9, I got Rodney McLeod, one of my favorite free agency acquisitions. He's in the prime of his career. He does everything right. He does everything Jim Schwartz wants. Malcolm Jenkins can take him under his wing. We've seen how hard McLeod can hit. If you watch that Emmanuel Sanders hit, I mean, he laid him out. The hard hitter. He makes plays, and he's definitely an underrated safety in this league. And like Mike mentioned earlier, it's sometimes those guys that really pay off. Back when we signed Jenkins, we took him over Jarius Byrd, who has been a bust of not matching that contract he got. So Rodney McLeod definitely, I think, is in the top 10, and is going to make a huge impact. I'm really looking forward to see that tandem, him working with Jenkins. I like our secondary this year. I really do.
At number 9, I also had Vinny Curry, so I'm right with Mike on that one. Switching to the 4-3, letting him kind of create havoc. They're going to be letting him do his thing, get after the quarterback. That's what Jim Schwartz wants. So I think in rundown situations they'll put Connor Barwin in there maybe, because obviously he's not the best run defender, but when he's out there rushing the quarterback, I mean, he gets to the quarterback pretty frequently. He just didn't get a lot of snaps playing that 3-4 defensive end under Billy Davis. So I'm expecting pretty big year from Vinny Curry. We'll see. He cracks my top 10. He's number 9 for me. And, well, we're going to round out our top 10s right now.
Yeah, rounding it out. I got it with the other guy that he reported to minicamp today that was, not there during the voluntary session, and that's Darren Sproles. I got Sproles there at number 10. It's pretty wild, you have a guy there in the top 10, not even, your top running back, not even your second-string running back, a third-string guy, third down back, but he does so many other things for this team. Leader, and obviously you can't overlook his, the special teams. I mean, that's just where he shines. Having a guy back there that's a threat to the return a ball for a touchdown every time he is returning a punt is just huge. So I think, the way that Peterson was talking about Sproles today, it was something that kind of surprised me a bit because Sproles, it's kind of been a mystery of how Doug Peterson was going to be using him. But Peterson kind of opened up a bit today about that and said that he's gonna use Sproles a lot. He said he might even line him up, at wide receiver at times. He's gonna line him up in the backfield, so he's gonna be all over the place. So the way that Peterson was talking about Sproles today, it makes me think that the Eagles might be using him a lot more in offense this year than maybe anticipated.
All right, rounding out my top 10, I haven't debated a lot about this. Physical specimen, all the talent in the world, had injuries in the past, but it's such an important position with lack of depth. I'm going with Michael Kendricks. I think he has to have a huge year, and I know he can. He's everything you want in a linebacker, sideline to sideline speed. He's huge. He can play the pass. He can play the run. He's shown it in the past. He's just got to put it all together this year. And this year of all their years is so important because we can't afford any injuries. The linebacker depth is so slim. So I am really expecting a big year from Kendricks. I think think it's definitely a bounce back year for him, and I'm sure he's very happy to be under Jim Schwartz and going back to a 4-3. I think it fits his skill set very well, and Michael Kendricks rounds out my top 10.
All right, my number 10 is Lane Johnson. I don't think he's worth the money that he got, but he's number 10 on my list. He's a pretty important piece, much better run blocker than he is a pass protector. So that's a little scary because he's going to take over at left tackle once Jason Peters retires, it seems like, and his pass blocking skills aren't exactly the best. So he's Lane Johnson. Lane Johnson, I think, is like probably the most overrated player on our team, but he's still in the top 10 on my list. So. Kind of recapping. So I didn't have Brandon Brooks in the top 10. You guys did. No Sam Bradford. Let's see. What else? Kendricks. I thought about Kendricks at number 10. It was between Kendricks, Sproles, and Johnson for number 10 for me. I also thought about putting Nigel Bradham at number 10, but I just didn't have the balls to do it. So any other guys you guys want to talk about?
Yeah, I think that one guy that we didn't have on any of our lists is Ryan Matthews. But see, the problem with Matthews is it's so hard to judge because if the guy can stay healthy, I think he's a top 10 guy on our list. But the problem is he just can't stay healthy. So that's another factor going into the season is going to be his health and if he can stay healthy because I'm excited. If that guy can stay healthy, he's a pretty decent running back to have as your top guy. And I mean, geez, Matthews he had a better year last year than Murray. So I think Matthews is a guy that you look at. Let's see who else. Another guy, Brandon Graham. He's gonna have an opportunity here to shine under Jim Schwartz in that attacking style of defense. He's another guy that likes to get after the quarterback. So, those are two of the guys that, just outside of the top 10.
How about Carson Wentz, anybody? Huh? Maybe soon enough. We hope so. I got an outside the box one for you. How about the special teams unit combo of John Dorenbos and Donnie Football? I mean, playing the field position game can be very, very important and change the tide of a game if Donnie places that punt and pins him at the 2-yard line. I mean, that's just an outside the box thought. I was gonna put Eric Rowe on there, so I was thinking about Benny Logan. You guys had them on there. That's what I got.
Nobody put Jordan Matthews on any of the lists either. That's a little bit surprising, I guess.
He's right. He's right there. I mean, he's probably 11. Jordan Matthews. The problem with him is it doesn't seem like he can play the outside. He's going to have to be an inside receiver. And I think we know what we're getting from Matthews at this point. I mean, you're probably consistently going to be looking at close to a 1,000-yard receiver. He's not going to put up, an astonishing amount of touchdowns. He's going to be in that, the middle of the range there. So, but you got to respect Jordan Matthews because he goes out there, he plays with a lot of heart, and he gives it your all. It's his all. So, he's like, if he was on any other team, he would be, a number 2 receiver, but he has to be the number 1 guy here.
Yeah, I think his versatility is limited to just playing the slot, but he's consistent though. I mean, I think he's a consistent player. So we hope that he cracks the top 10 soon enough, and Nelson Aguilar, we really hope so. And another receiver that Doug Peterson, I mean, he wouldn't be on top 10 on our team, but he had high praise on today. It was Ruben Randall. Tall, kind of consistent. I mean, it looks like I have a feeling he's going to be the starter out on the outside next to Aguilar this year.
Yeah, I think Jordan Matthews is probably our best receiver. Number 2 is probably Ruben Randall. Number 3 is probably Chris Givens. So, we'll see about Aguilar. I was really high on him coming out of the draft last year. We'll see. Another name that wasn't on any of our lists was Jason Kelsey. I think this has to do with scheme more than anything. because I do believe he has the talent to be a top 10 guy on the Eagles. It's just, this type of scheme that we're in, a power kind of scheme, it's kind of hard to put him in the top 10. Let's see. Deep sleeper. Who's a guy that like no one's really talking about? Deep under the radar player that you guys got? Because I got one that I can think of.
All right.
You want me to go first then?
Yeah, go ahead. Let me think
All
about
right.
this.
This is a guy that no one's really talking about. Mike Martin. This is a guy that we signed really, really late. This is going to be like a backup defensive tackle. I believe he played with Jim Schwartz, maybe at Tennessee. I'm not 100% sure, but I thought this kid was pretty good at Tennessee. Really, really deep under the radar sleeper for me. Yeah, Mike Martin.
Yeah, that's a good one. But Martin has actually been getting the first team reps because Fletcher Cox wasn't taking any of the reps today. He was kind of just working on the side, doing some light work. Doesn't want to get hurt while he's trying to get that big contract extension. But yeah, Mike Martin. It's funny because that's a signing that came so late in the off season. People kind of just swept it under the radar. Didn't even really mention it that much. But he's really a guy that could see a lot of playing time. Him along with Bo Allen. Those are two. They're two good backup guys to have on your team. All right, I got one. I'm gonna go with Chris Givens. I think that this guy. He brings some speed to this receiving core, and this is really what the Eagles need. I mean, they haven't really had speed at the position since they let Deshaun Jackson go. So not really expecting Givens to put up the big numbers this season, but hopefully he's a guy that they can connect on some long balls with.
All right, deep sleeper. I'm gonna go with Kenyon Barner. I think with Ryan Matthews' injury history, I think Barner's definitely going to get at least a chance. He's going to be in the rotation, and if Ryan Matthews happens to go down, we've seen flashes from him. I think he's got a good skill set, and then if I go on the defensive side, I also like Jalen Mills. I hope he gets a lot of playing time in there. I mean, they say he has off the field issues, but I'm not really worried about that. I think he's got a great skill set. I've seen him rock some people he can hit. If he can pick up the scheme and get some playing time and make an impact, I definitely like him as a deep sleeper.
Okay, all right. So pretty much named our whole roster in this show, except Haluputu Vaitai, whatever fuck is. So yeah. Final thoughts time.
Yeah, so final thoughts. This was a tough list to do. For me, I was really the top 4, top 5. It was pretty easy. It was just a matter of ranking those guys and where they go. But once you get past the top 5, it was tough because there's a lot of guys that are bunched together there. And, it kind of tells you where the Eagles are as a football team right now. They got a few star players, but then after that, they got a bunch of good to average players. So, that's why with the quarterback situation that they have, with Sam Bradford right now, you got an average quarterback. That's why you're not going to be looking at anything spectacular this season. And that's why hopefully if you can build with Carson Wentz and then you add some good drafts into that, stockpile some more star players, and then acquire maybe some veteran star players in the offseason, that's where you start to really build your team. So that's my thoughts there.
Yeah, this was I like this. This was fun to do. I mean, I kind of did it last minute, but I threw it all together, and it was fun ranking these guys. And yeah, usually you would think top 10 players on any given team, you'd have a quarterback in there. And it's funny. I think it was Jason Lockman Forda tweeted out a tier list of quarterbacks today, and he did 7 tiers. Okay, and he kind of gave them names. You know where Sam Bradford ended up? He was in tier 6. under the title like "Good luck with these guys." Like I thought that was hilarious. So this goes to show you, making this list not including our quarterback. Well, that's why. But overall, I think we finally got mandatory minicamps here. We're 1 month closer. We're in June. We're 1 month closer to the training camp getting here. And then you know what comes after that, preseason and then the season. So we're getting close, fellas.
Yeah, yeah. All right, this is where I'm going to plug something. I started doing Philly Influencers Facebook page. I started doing Facebook Live videos today. So Sean Brace is handling Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I am handling Tuesdays and Thursdays. So check that out. Go to Philly Influencers Facebook page. I made a video today. I talked about Fletcher Cox. I talked about a plethora of topics. Talked a little Sam Bradford, a little Carson Wentz. Talked a little Ben Simmons. Talked a little Jeff Teague trade rumors. So got everything on the docket. I gave a middle finger to Sidney Crosby. Yeah, all that. Check it out. I might even include a little link in the description box. So there you go. All right, that's it for today. Great show. So yeah, this was a lot of fun. Definitely enjoyed this. And next year we'll see. Who the top 10 is next year. We'll make this a yearly deal. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, plus it also makes people watch the whole video. Sometimes people like to make comments on just about anything without reading or watching something. So at least this made people watch the whole video. So yeah, people, if they want to list their top 10 in the comments, or if they think that we should have had someone higher or lower, let us know.
Yeah, definitely give us some feedback. It's definitely fun. I'm all about it for next year, and let's see who has the best list come the 2016 season.
All right, yeah, can't wait, man. Can't wait for the season to start. And yeah, definitely a fun show today. And definitely give us your top 10 Eagles in the comment section below. So with that being said, Mike Owens, Jeremy Burton, I'm Adrian Fecue. Great shit today. We're out. Later.
There.